Hey there, and welcome to another Minecraft tutorial. Belmathuin here, and today I thought I'd show you some keyboard shortcuts. Whether you're a long-term player, whether you're new to the game, you might find something on this list that you didn't know and that can help make your life easier. I wrote them all out on signs so they'll be nice and big on your screen, and you'll be able to pause and try out each and every one if you want to. We're just going to go right down the list. So first off, we have hide GUI. It is just hitting F1. And all that does is take away the GUI. Takes away your toolbar, takes away your hand and whatever you're holding, even if it is just your hand. And it segues perfectly into shortcut number 2, F2. Take a screenshot. A lot of people would like to use their F1 so that they can take a screenshot without having the toolbar in the screen. And for that, you just hit F2. And the easiest way I've found. Yep, see, it took 2 screenshots. The easiest way I've found to access the screenshots is to go into your options menu, go to resource packs, and open resource pack folder. That'll open up the Minecraft files. And from there, you'll go to Minecraft or .minecraft, and there's a folder in there, a couple up from your resource packs folder called screenshots, and they're in there. Nice easy way to get to them. Alright, continuing right along. F3, most people will know this one. Debug info. It just brings up all the text on the top right and top left of the screen. Just a quick overview, I guess. Top left of the screen, you have your version of Minecraft and your FPS, as well as your entity count and your XYZ coordinates. Down towards the bottom of the text on the left side, you can see the looking at. That'll tell you what the position of the block your cursor is over is. You can also see right above that, tells you what the local difficulty is for the area you're in, and what biome you're in, what cardinal direction you're facing, and very, very useful, light. So if you're inside a building and you're looking to make sure no mobs can spawn, you want to pay attention to you see it says light 15. 15 sky, 0 block. So that means, let me grab a torch. See, now it says light 14 on the block. So that's the one you want to pay attention to when you're inside, or when you're lighting up anything, really. Because the 15 for the sky will turn to 0 when it comes nighttime. So you want, if you're looking to prevent mob spawns, you want the block light to be above, I think it's 8 or above, will prevent mob spawning. On the left side of the screen, the right side of the screen, yeah, it tells you how much memory you're using, how much of your allocated memory that you have for Minecraft is being used. Right now I'm only using about 400 out of 4,000 I have allocated. It also shows the name of the block. You can see targeted block. Minecraft iron block gives the name of the block. Targeted fluid, there is no fluid here, but if I were to take, let's grab some lava and some water, and just quickly pop a hole there, and pop a hole there, and you can see targeted fluid, Minecraft water, falling false. Now, if I were to look at that, it says true because now it's falling down a block. And then that one says lava, and it would be the same deal. This is one way you can get the actual file name for a block. And that's the important parts of that's the most commonly used important parts of the F3 screen. Alright, and now on to some of the functionalities for the F3 screen. If you hold down F3 and hit A, you see the screen flash a little bit. You see that village? It's being, all of these chunks are unloading and then reloading. That's great if you have like a graphical glitch. If you were looking over there and you saw a hole in the ground, then that would be a great way to oftentimes fix that visual glitch, which is in my survival series. I constantly, over by the coral reef in the water, just off the base, have a couple of chunks that just don't want to load initially, and I do F3A, and it reloads them, and they look just fine, and they work just fine. F3B, show hitboxes. That one is super useful. Let's see, if I go into F5, that red line is my line of sight. That's where my eyes are. And then the white box around me is my collision box. Let's see, let's go back here. Let's grab a couple of mobs. Grab a horse. And why not a parrot? Those are pretty different hitboxes. Now you see that blue line is where that mob is looking. If it's a hostile mob and that blue line can connect with your red line, the red line around your hitbox, then it can see you and it can attack you. If it cannot connect its red box to your red box or red lines with that blue line, then it won't attack you. It can't see you, and for all intents and purposes, you don't exist to it. Actually, I should probably grab a hostile mob just to show that. There, skeleton. That will work. So that guy, see, he's looking around. He would shoot me. But if I put a couple of, if there were a couple of blocks right there, right here, he can't see me. I don't exist to him. And that's the hitboxes. It also, well, actually, it also works for dropped items. So I often use this in end cities to see where those shulker shells are dropping. It'll there's a little collision box or item box just like that around experience balls, around dropped items, and also around all the mobs. So it's a great way to see if you missed any shulkers on the other side of a city as well. Alright, let's turn that off. F3 and D. Right now, there's my chat history. If you're on a server, or if you're on single player and there's just been a lot of, or like a landline or something with your family, and there's been a lot of chat and it's just taking up too much of your screen, or you want to clear it for any reason, then you can do F3 and D, and then you go into your chat and there's nothing there. Just a convenient little tidbit there. F3 plus G. Hold down F3, hit G, and your chunk borders will show up. So this right here is the corner, 4 different chunks. All 4 of those blocks are in different chunks. You can tell that because the blue line is where they meet. And the red lines are also corners of 4 chunks, but they're just outside of the chunk you are currently in. The blue lines are for the chunk you are currently in, just kind of helps show the difference. And the blue lines going up are for the sub chunks, which many of the more technical Minecrafters would get into. I imagine that if you're that technical that you need to know that information, you probably already know this part. So I'll kind of skip over that. So now we go to let's turn off those. F3 plus H, advanced tooltips. See, right now it just says diamond sword. In fact, let's use it to kill this horse so that it has some. Oh, let me pop into creative mode. No. Or survival. Yeah, survival. Okay, so now there is some durability damage on that sword. Let's go back into creative so that nothing can spawn and kill us. You're seeing durability and just that small little screen. Now, if I do F3 and H, advanced tooltips hidden. So now if we look at that sword, it doesn't show any of that information. It doesn't show the durability. It doesn't show the technical name. And turn it back on, and you can see the durability and the Minecraft name, NBT tags. And that's advanced tooltips. F3 and N, only really useful if you're in a creative world. F3, hold down F3, hit N, toggles you between spectator mode and creative mode. Spectator mode, creative mode. Alright. F3 and Q, it's kind of the help menu of Minecraft. F3, Q. And then you can go into your chat and scroll up and down if you need to check out all the keys. Okay, and I'm back. Sorry about that. I had a family group text start going off on my phone that's like 8 inches from the microphone. I'll check all that out later. So that is the in-game help menu that gets you all these commands that I'm showing you. I'm just telling you, I'm kind of explaining in more detail what they actually do. F3 plus S. If your sounds are glitching out, textures glitching out because you're using a resource pack that may be outdated or may have a bad file in it or something just didn't connect well, you can do F3 plus S, and it reloads your sounds, reloads your textures. I don't have a resource pack going on this one, so it didn't do anything. F5, camera toggle view. That gets you to here, and back. F11, toggle full screen. It can be rekeyed in options, controls. I want to say it is right there, F11. So perspective and full screen can be rekeyed, as well as take screenshots. Quite a few of these can be rekeyed to whatever is comfortable for you. I've got these ones on the default setting. So get out of there. 1 through 9 on your keyboard, not your number pad. 1 through 9 is a quick move from or to the hotbar. So if I go into my inventory here, and that should be number 7. So if I hit 7, while I'm hovering over top of that, it pops it down there. Or if I'm hovering over an empty space up here and I hit one of the numbers, it'll take that item and put it in the space I'm hovering over. That can be kind of useful. Alright, so that's that one. F, main hand to offhand. You can rekey this in the same place that I showed you for full screen mode. All that does, switches whatever's in your hand to your offhand. Doesn't matter what kind of item it is. It's especially useful for switching between a pick and a torch. So that's that one. And then go to an empty hand and it'll clear that. Q, drop single item. So let's get ourselves a stack. You're holding in your hand, you hit Q. I've actually remapped mine to G so that it's not as easily accidentally hit, but it just tosses out an item. And kind of makes a funny look if you do it from this perspective. Alright. Control plus Q tosses the entire stack. It also works for clearing your inventory. Say you've got a guardian farm and you have a bunch of fish that you're taking out of the chest because you don't want it, and you just want to toss them into a fire or into lava or just out to despawn. Open up your inventory, hover over what you want to get rid of, hold control, hit G. Much quicker than having to pick it up and drop it off the side. In fact, we don't need that anymore. Okay, so where were we? I found that one to be especially useful in a number of circumstances. T opens your chat. You can rekey that in the same options menu that we looked at earlier. Left shift equals sneak. You can rekey that one as well. That will allow you to stand on a block, and I'm walking forward. I'm still walking forward, but it's not letting me fall off. The second I let go of sneak, I fall. Many people use that to build up high, making a little scaffolding for themselves. Tab, show player list, and banner. I don't happen to have one on this world. This is a single player world. But if you were on a server and you hit tab, it would show you a list up in the top of your screen, right up in here, of all the players. And if your server had banners enabled, kind of like Hermitcraft does with phantom kills or meters flown, those banners would show up by hitting tab and looking up there. Control or double tap W to sprint. I rekey that, and you can rekey it to anything you want, but holding control will allow you to sprint, or double tapping the W button will allow you to sprint. Alright. Middle click, the mouse wheel. That's pick block. In creative mode or survival mode, you can aim at a block, and it'll bring your cursor to the block if it's on your toolbar. If it's not, it'll bring it up from in here to your toolbar, and that works in survival and creative. If you're in creative and you hover over an item and click the middle mouse wheel, it'll give you a full stack of the item. Right click onto a stack will grab you a half of that stack. Right clicking onto that stack of 64 gives me 32. Holding left shift or left click will evenly split the held stack to the number of slots you drag it on. So if I take this block of iron, this 64 blocks of iron, and hold left click while I drag it across 8 spaces, that divides the 64 by the 8 spaces, giving you 8 blocks in each. And that can be done any amount of times until you only have 1 for each space. Hold right click equals put one item from held stack in all slots dragged on. So this is similar to what we just did, except holding the right click and dragging over spots deposits only one item, no matter how many spaces I drag this over. Holding middle click in creative mode puts a stack of held item in all slots dragged. You probably have seen this done in videos and wondered how they did it. Well, in creative mode, I have an item. I hold down the middle mouse button and drag it across these spots, and it gives me a stack in each spot. That does not work in survival, unfortunately. Left click plus shift is craft all. So let's go ahead and break those down. So if I hold shift and click on that, it will pull up all of the items. It'll pull up all of the items necessary to make that finished item, and it'll pull up as many as you can possibly make. In this case, I only had resources to make 27 anvils, so it pulled 27 for each slot that it needed to fill. That also works without using that menu. By using previous tricks, I can hold left click and drag there, hold left click and drag here, and do it again to make sure that I have enough, and then I can shift click and it'll give me shift click on the finished item, and it'll make everything that is in everything it can out of what's in the crafting grid. Double left click, grab all of that item up to a stack. So you have a bunch of items spread out in your inventory of the same item. If I double click on any one of these, it will pull together a whole group. And actually, let's do it with these. So I'm going to spread a couple of stacks out to show you something. So I've got a couple of stacks worth. That will only pull together one stack. This does work in survival. It is very useful in survival. Double left click plus shift transfers all of that item. So, alright, let's grab a stack of that. And we're going to fill all these spots up. So you've got an inventory full of stuff, and you don't want to stand there and click each one. Just have something in your hand, something on your cursor. Any item really works. Hover over that item, hold down shift, and double left click. It moves all of that available item. Works going from your inventory, also works going back into your inventory. Super useful, huge time saver. And that's it for today's tips and tricks and this tutorial on Minecraft keyboard shortcuts. This was Belmathuin. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If there's any tips that I missed, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. And I'm sure anybody that watches this will appreciate the additional knowledge. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next episode.